Thank you for joining us here at Moxo. I'm Naz, I'll be your host, and today we'll be talking through how to transform the B2B onboarding process with your customer success teams. So, before we dive in, let's just get started with a bit of an overview of what we'll be covering in today's webinar. So, to begin, we'll start by exploring the connection between client onboarding and customer success. Next, we'll touch upon key challenges by discussing the issues in ineffective onboarding and also going over how these issues grow into, let's say, larger, more widespread problems for B2B businesses. And we'll even do a bit of a deep dive into why these issues exist in the very first place. Then we'll move on to defining what a successful onboarding strategy entails and really explain how it is that these measures of success are, let's say, inherently achieved through leveraging the right technology. And we'll also do a further exploration into the solution and really go over exactly how to optimize your processes with it. Finally, we'll explore just how it is that ensuring that your client accounts have, let's say, an excellent service experience and really a guided and a seamless onboarding process early on leads to higher rates of success, better retention, and even expansions. And so let's go ahead and dive right in. Onboarding really is a crucial first step in your client relationship. It sets the tone and really even the foundation for your clients to have ongoing success with your product, your services, and ultimately with your business, right? I mean, let's just take a second to think about it. Onboarding serves as an opportunity for you to establish trust and really demonstrate value and really to lay the groundwork for a long-term customer relationship. And so, whether you are in the tech industry or you're operating any part of your business online, your B2B services are bound to have some level of consultation, right? And so, then if your onboarding is, let's say, a true SaaS product implementation cycle, or maybe it's completely different, right? Maybe you are actually an investment firm who is onboarding a new institutional client. Either way, your onboarding process requires engagement between your account managers and your new client account. This really is an intricate process that requires a fair amount of back and forth and really a fair amount of coordination between the multiple stakeholders in both parties, right, to get that client account started. And so, really, it is critical that businesses at this stage are able to provide, I would say, really a streamlined and a guided onboarding experience that enables you to, let's say, foster trust and reliability right off the bat. And so maybe you are, for example's sake, a law firm, right? And you are in the onboarding process online before signing the engagement letter. Or maybe you're in financial services, right? And you are collecting the sort of preliminary financial statements from your new client account. Either way, whatever the case may be here, right, setting a very high standard for these initial services during onboarding allows for, I would say, a seamless transition and really simultaneously sets high expectations for that next phase of the client journey, right? Which only further ensures a higher chance of client success, continuity, and retention. And so, thinking about continuity, retention, success, right? These KPIs, let's talk a bit more about what makes it so difficult for today's B2B businesses to achieve and maintain these KPIs, right? And honestly, the difficulty here, the problem is that traditional onboarding processes within the digital landscape are heavily fragmented with little to no communication nor integration, right? And so, honestly, I would argue that today most businesses struggle with the management of onboarding itself. And that's simply because the paradigm looks exactly like what you see on your screen here, right? The process is often highly disjointed. It takes place across disparate platforms. These disparate platforms, they have broken communication between different software, which inherently just means that there is broken communication between you and your clients, right? And really, that broken communication, it looks like what you see here. Really, I would argue that let's say the absence of a centralized system, it inherently means that there is not a clear communication channel, which just means that, or it leads to unsupported clients who are maybe waiting for an answer that comes too late or not at all even, right? And honestly, we see this all the time with our clients before they implement Moxo. Let's go ahead and run through a typical scenario, right? Honestly, this is applicable to any industry, but for example's sake, let's pretend that you are a digital marketing agency, right? Your new client account signs with you. And it's an exciting time for both parties, right? Let's say that your sales team has maybe put in a lot of effort into outbounding and that maybe the customer acquisition costs were high, but you're ready to get the ball rolling on onboarding. And likewise, your new client account, they love your work, right? Maybe they are excited to have you build their digital marketing campaign. And so at this point, right, they reach out. Maybe they want to discuss or clarify something that was discussed, or maybe they have some questions, right? And really, this is where it all breaks down. As we all know, email is incredibly inefficient and just difficult to keep track of, especially in multi-party B2B cases, right? And so their email, let's say that it gets lost in the tens of thousands of others in your inbox, or another really common case that I've seen a lot is that the staff who was assigned to that new client account is actually out of office, and so they can't respond to them right away. Ultimately, your client is left hanging, and really just imagine yourself in that situation without knowing when they get an answer back, if at all. Your new client loses trust in your business's ability to assist them, to care for their needs. And really, this is what makes them decide to work with someone else who answers them right away and gets their campaign launched immediately. And so, as you can see, these inconvenient and I would say highly ineffective processes are detrimental to client success and retention. And so really, it is this fragmented process, right, that exists across disparate platforms, that inherently leads to drop-offs, right? As we've just talked about, it leads to gaps in communications and also ultimately that leads to gaps in the process. And really, it is just a wildly inefficient use of resources and time. As we all know, B2B service cycles are already longer than B2C. And really, onboarding in this manner, where it is, let's say, sprawled out across various platforms, it really just sets the stage for even slower service cycles between your clients and your customer success managers or your account managers, right? As well as just providing, I would say, an overall worse client experience. And really, just thinking about it, honestly, the sheer amount of time that gets lost in that management of manual back and forth can cause your staff to waste their time on more menial tasks rather than providing or putting it towards providing, let's say, their consultative knowledge to customers, right? And this undeniably results in a decrease in productivity and an increase in admin work, which just means that there is less time dedicated to delivering consultative services to clients and significantly more time wasted. Let's say going through emails, that crazy inbox that you have, right? Or maybe following up on emails or waiting for responses, waiting for approvals, looking for old documents. Honestly, the list goes on here. Right. And so ultimately, it's these ineffective onboarding processes that inevitably lead to both higher costs and higher rates of churn. And so let's go ahead and talk a bit more about those two issues I just mentioned, right? Thinking about higher costs and lower retention here. So when onboarding is fragmented and disjointed and frankly put just slow, right? The immediate consequence is higher operational costs. Your team is really honestly spending unnecessary time managing manual tasks, going back and forth between platforms, following up on lost communication, right? All of which just increases overhead. This wasted time, honestly, it could otherwise be used on let's say more strategic and more consultative tasks that really add value to the client relationship. And instead, resources are just drained away by inefficient processes that are really just chipping away at profitability. And just thinking about it, honestly, the cost is not just financial here, right? Poor onboarding experiences, they lead directly to lower client retention. And so when a client feels, let's say, unsupported or like they've been ignored, like in my digital marketing example earlier, right? Whether it is miscommunication in emails or delays or even just a lack of clarity into the process, right? Not knowing where they are in the process, what's coming next, or when they'll hear back, right? All of these situations make them lose trust and I would say lose confidence in your ability to deliver value, right? Studies show that the clients who experience this sort of, let's say, frustration early on are 60% more likely to churn. And just think about that, right? This results in even higher costs for you now as your business now faces the challenge of acquiring new clients to, let's say, replace those who have left. And honestly speaking, retaining clients is far more cost effective than acquiring new ones. And I think if there's one thing we've learned, it's that ineffective onboarding, it just sets this negative tone that can really undo the hard work that your sales team has put into securing the client in the very first place. And really, I mean, just thinking out loud here, in the long run, this also harms your reputation as unhappy clients are highly unlikely to recommend your services. I mean, in fact, I would argue that they would do the opposite. And so really retention is key to achieving growth and poor onboarding practices, they create basically, let's think of it as an uphill battle in maintaining long-term client relationships, right? Which ultimately just makes it increasingly difficult for your business to scale. And so let's dive even deeper into this, right? And just talk even more about why these challenges exist in the very first place. And so these issues in ineffective onboarding and really in any service delivery process are inherent to the current paradigm, where, as we've talked about earlier, it exists over multiple platforms with no integration nor communication, which means that you are, let's say you're emailing sensitive documents, you are waiting on approvals, and you're manually managing tasks across various platforms. And really, just to be clear here, these platforms are single point utility systems, which means that they solve for single parts of the problem rather than, let's say, providing a more comprehensive solution that allows you to collaborate in the context of the process at hand. And so, right, when using a single point utility system, if your client has, let's say, a question about a document they have to fill out or submit, then they have to go to a different platform to email you and ask you about it. And your staff reads that email, has to go to a different platform to look into the case and into the account and into the document that they're referring to. And so ultimately, it is this that directly leads to the wasted time. It directly leads to slower process completion rates and it leads to increased costs. And on top of that, I would say an overall unsatisfactory client experience. At Moxo, we understand these challenges well. Moxo was built from the ground up to be collaborative, and it makes it easy for businesses to automate tasks, to drive actions to completion, and really just to get business done at any given time or any given place. And, I mean, today we're living in this mobile world, and while it's not exactly that every single thing happens on our cell phone, although that is becoming more common, the larger point here is that we've all gotten used to the speed, the flexibility, and honestly, the convenience that mobile gives us, right? We operate in a full service economy where everyone expects to get exactly what they want or what they need from their phone instantly. And really, this is reflected in the way that business is done today, right? As B2B firms, you provide your expertise and your services to entire client accounts, right? Which means that you are navigating complex business needs while working with multiple stakeholders, and still you are operating your business with that same demand for speed and efficiency and instant access that have really become the norm in today's world. And honestly, this shift in expectations, it's also evident in the way that we live our daily lives, right? Some of you could be tuning into this webinar right now, listening to what I'm saying, while, I don't know, maybe simultaneously replying to a text or ordering your next meal on your phone even, right? And so Moxo taps into that mindset, bringing you the same speed, efficiency, and convenience to your business by streamlining workflows, by making it easy to get actions done, allowing for, I would say, collaboration and communication in context, and really just centralizing everything into one platform. This is the world that we're living in today. There's really no need or time for inconveniences or unnecessary delays. And so now that we've gone through and discussed the challenges of ineffective onboarding, right? Talked about disjointed processes, we've talked about unnecessary delays, increased cost, reduced client retention. It is clear, right? It is evident that B2B businesses need, let's say, a really comprehensive and a really efficient approach here. And so, in that context, whether it is onboarding or account servicing, your business needs to leverage collaborative workflows that combine automation with collaboration. And really, just to quickly expand on that point there, blended automation is a combination of powerful automation features with consultative human service. Right? This is a combination that virtually eliminates the dead time wasted on more menial tasks and maximizes efficiency by allowing you to, let's say, focus more on providing the consultative services that make up the core of B2B relationships. And so, really, the structure of collaborative workflows themselves, they inherently streamline your onboarding such that the process is thoughtfully organized, it provides clarity, and is contained in a singular workflow, right? So this means that all the forms, documents, the communication, the external platforms, really just the entirety of the onboarding process at hand is consolidated into one, let's say, easy to track and easy to understand workflow. Collaborative workflows are efficient, right? And so, as I was talking about earlier, they use automation to take care of, let's say, fundamental yet really time-consuming tasks, such as collecting documents and organizing them into other file storage systems, right? Or collecting or creating invoices and through your payment systems, or even just sending out task reminders. Right. And so next, collaborative workflows are built for consultative actions and processes. And so when it comes to B2B services, there is complexity in onboarding that requires you and your client to talk back and forth, right? You may need to exchange documents. You might need to collect those documents. And maybe you might even have to discuss changes at some point, right? I think we've all been there. Maybe you are an architecture firm, right? And your new client account maybe originally wanted a modern steel and glass style building, and then they suddenly decide they actually want something more traditional, right? Or maybe they just want to change the materials that were originally discussed. Either way, there is this inherent need to, let's say, keep track of the history of the conversation and really a way to be able to engage in that conversation easily and within the context of the onboarding process at hand. And so collaborative workflows, they allow for this high level of personalized service in the most efficient manner without really having to, let's say, waste time rifling through old email threads or documents or even asking other staff members, right? And so really without any of these types of, let's say, disruptions, your workflows are seamless. They allow your clients to have this smooth process that transitions fluidly from one action to the next and even smoothly and fluidly into the next stage of their client journey with you. And really, a key reason for this is that they provide transparency throughout the process to all parties involved, right? With the insight to know exactly what's happening, where you are in the onboarding process, who needs to take action, right? And so we'll definitely touch upon this point more deeply, but really with full visibility across the board, everyone involved knows what's happening in the process. And so there's actually no need for, let's say, constant questions about what the next step is or when things will be done. which then really allows for actions to be taken more quickly. And when actions are taken more quickly, this of course leads to, let's say, both higher and faster process completion rates. And so finally, moving on here, a successful onboarding strategy is inherently insightful for both parties. And so if you are providing a product like a software, for example, onboarding should really educate your client until they are proficient in using it, ensuring that they go live with it right away. Whereas if you are providing a service of any kind, really onboarding should, I would say, provide an excellent service experience that not only fosters loyalty, but really increases your opportunities of cross-selling and upselling. And really thinking about your business here, internally, your staff should have full visibility into what's happening, giving them clear insights on how they can best support their clients into getting their tasks done. And so we'll talk about this more later, but I would highly recommend that the comprehensive data that's found in the reporting dashboard should be utilized at this stage to further increase your visibility, to better understand your clients, and really to better understand your process as well. And so with the system or the collaborative workflow seamlessly driving the onboarding process and visibility across each step, your clients are supported and informed throughout the process, right? And this is all enhanced actually by your staff's ability to assist them right away without wasting time on trying to understand context by as we mentioned, rifling through old email threads or asking other staff members. Collaborative workflows really allow for the most amount of efficiency and I would say the highest or most excellent customer service at the same time. And so now that we've laid out the key elements of a successful onboarding strategy, the next step is really understanding, let's say, how it is that collaborative workflows optimize your onboarding. And so Moxo is specifically designed to streamline customer success processes. It is designed to drive business actions to completion and really to deliver an exceptional experience with each and every one of your customers. And so our product, it directly addresses the key challenges that businesses face in and let's say managing, delivering, and really orchestrating complex multi-party, multi-step processes. And so let's talk a bit more about how Moxo transforms your onboarding into a seamless, efficient, and excellent service experience, right? And so to start, you really want to leverage collaborative workflows to drive business actions to completion. And so just thinking about this, right? Any service delivery process is essentially made up of one or more business actions, right? Typically with onboarding, this is seen in an intake form. You'll also have to maybe collect a document, a specific document, right? Or schedule an initial intake meeting or get an approval. These are all business action items that the various stakeholders involved need to get done. But honestly, this is probably one of the more difficult things to do, right? Getting something as simple as the correct documents filled out by your clients can be the hardest part of a process. And so, not only does this lead to, let's say, unnecessary delays, it also leads to drop-offs, which in turn eventually leads to decreased retention. And really, just thinking about this to be fair, this happens because in the current paradigm, it's difficult for clients too, right? They're having to hop between different platforms. They don't know where they are in the process, and it's not easy for them to know how to reach out or where to reach out or when they'll hear back. And hence, right, the second key point here is that collaborative workflows increase stakeholder visibility. And so every single person involved in the process has visibility and is able to get involved at whatever level of involvement they need to be at. And so collaborative workflows are so critical for B2B processes because of their capability to bring the right people into the process at the right time. And so, of course, a piece of this is automated reminders, right? Being sent out immediately and getting things done in a timely manner, but it's also because the workflow is transparent. Everyone involved can see every action that needs to be taken who needs to take it, when it needs to be done by, and really everything else necessary to get each task completed. And really, to add on to that, this clarity and visibility, it fosters trust and it gives you more control over how that process is proceeding. So let's think about that, right? If you can see the workflow and you notice something stalling, you can immediately see and resolve it right there in the context of the workflow and the process at hand. And so with this, I would say high level of tracking and oversight, it becomes easy to get that approval, right? To understand and quickly answer a client question and really to keep the process flowing smoothly. Finally, this transparency is, let's say, amplified, right, for process owners through the reporting dashboard that I was mentioning earlier. And so when you leverage collaborative workflows across your business to streamline your processes, you gather an abundance of data that allows both admins and even managers a higher degree of oversight and control. And so this data, it can be utilized to really turn visibility into action, I would say. Right. Reports, they allow you to do an abundance of things to benefit your business, such as identify and remove bottlenecks, right? Hold your staff accountable to KPIs. They allow you to understand your business's efficiency. And really, ultimately, what this is that they allow you to make informed decisions to continuously optimize your processes. And so, honestly, this extensive information, it allows you to make data-backed decisions and take imperative action to really ensure success and drive your processes to completion, which in long term, it ultimately prevents, and short term too, right? It prevents and reduces churn, which increases your ability to scale in the long term. And so let's talk a bit more about that, right? Talking about scale and transitioning into this idea of expansion. And so, how is it that you can service even more clients given that your services are both highly complex and highly consultative in nature? Well, it's because the Moxo platform itself is inherently supportive, right? As we've discussed, it is transparent, it is streamlined, it integrates seamlessly with your other systems, and it even automates steps, right? Really eliminating the need for your customers to, let's say, constantly ask where they are in the process or maybe request to see old documents or ask you how they can log into different systems, right? Or even reaching out to reschedule, right? All of these routine tasks and more are handled by Moxo, which significantly cuts costs by making your staff immensely more productive. And so really this virtually eliminates delays that are caused by manual intervention or broken communication as we've talked about, right? Ultimately reducing and shortening process length, right? Which then allows you to, I would say, onboard more clients both efficiently and quickly, right? And you can really accelerate their progress through your business processes. And so with flow workspaces or collaborative workflows guiding your clients through each step with full visibility, your staff can focus solely on providing, let's say, high quality concierge service level assistance. This means that they can serve more clients since they're no longer being bogged down by admin work or maybe wasting time answering very simple questions for each and every client. And ultimately, this is what empowers your business to scale, right? As your team now has more time and really the increased capacity to provide their expertise to an even greater number of clients. And so now let's continue to talk about scale and also moving into retention here. And so, as I've mentioned, right, successful customer management during onboarding, it entails utilizing Moxo's collaborative workflows to really guide the process and really support your clients with your staff stepping in to, let's say, give more efficient and tailored support only when truly necessary. And so by setting this, let's say, by setting this precedent during onboarding, you've set high standards backed by an excellent customer experience, right? And so not only does this I would say, improve the overall client experience, but it also drives significant increases in overall efficiency. And so you can see this in terms of how your staff operates, in terms of their productivity and how many more clients they can service. And you'll also see it in terms of how fast and streamlined your own processes become. And really, to add on to that, right? Given how efficiently you can service more clients in the same amount of time, you also have the increased capacity to offer more services with the same amount of resources. And so one of our clients actually, Shields Tax and CPA, was able to double their client base while adding or providing additional services, just due to how efficient and streamlined their processes are on Moxo. And so let's take a step back and imagine that type of growth for a second, right? Doubling your client base and offering additional services, right? I would say that Shield's achievements here are really a great example of the kind of growth that our clients typically experience, really just showcasing how powerful Moxo truly is. And honestly, let's say the efficiencies that are granted by Moxo's platform, combined with excellent service from your staff, creates a universally great client experience each and every time, which directly contributes to fostering customer loyalty, right? And it's this loyalty that translates into higher retention while mitigating avoidable churn, right? And this is what increases your, let's say, your reputation in the market, right? As a reliable and really as an extremely efficient business, which helps you stand out in your industry. I mean, just thinking about this, right? Your strong onboarding process really becomes quite, I would say, an undeniable differentiator, right? Ensuring that your business is known for both exceptional service as well as for operational excellence. And so finally, right, your business will have the capability to scale, given that this solution not only optimizes your processes and increases efficiency across the board, but also greatly increases the chances of you, let's say, receiving positive reviews on G2 or even a higher NPS score or even word of mouth referrals, right? And so fundamentally, the efficiency gained by Moxo's platform is groundbreaking in the way that it streamlines your processes, in the way that it improves the client experience, and really reduces the need for, let's say, frequent interactions while really eliminating unnecessary admin work too. And ultimately, this really comprehensively grants your business the increased capacity to service more highly satisfied customers. And so, as we're nearing the end here, everyone, I would love to conclude with a bit of a wrap up of everything that we have discussed today. And so, onboarding really is a critical first step in your client relationship. As we've established, it sets the foundation for long-term client success and business growth. And so you can leverage Moxo's collaborative workflows in conjunction with outstanding customer service to eradicate inefficiencies and really ensure future success, right? Driving actions to completion, increasing visibility to get your processes completed. Moxo's Flow workspaces allow you to leverage the reporting dashboard, right, to make informed decisions and really gain clear insight into where your team is successful and into what parts of your business processes may need changes. And additionally, the usage of Moxo's powerful actions and really customizable Flow workspaces, they streamline your business processes such that your clients have, let's say, a universally exceptional customer experience, and your staff is able to actually have less frequent interactions with each and every client and are therefore able to service even more clients. And so, really, just to wrap up here, everyone, once you set, let's say, a high standard for customer success, starting with onboarding on Moxo, you'll be able to see as your rates of customer satisfaction, retention, and scale increase. And so that wraps it up for today's webinar, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope that this session was helpful for your onboarding process and, of course, for your B2B business. If you have any questions about any of the topics or the features that were mentioned here today, please feel free to reach out to us at flow@moxo.com. We really look forward to seeing you next time.